morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Associated Guest. I am your host, Alfie Animus, here at the Bear in Mind channel. All right, today, Google admits to censoring, quote unquote, I put quote unquote MAGA because it wasn't just MAGA. It was literally anyone with a disagreement, anyone who disagreed with the mainstream. Feds sweep across America, and Pete Hegseth kind of cooks. So let's get into the first story here with Mr. Tim Pool.
From the House Judiciary Committee, Google admits censorship under Biden and promises to end bans of YouTube accounts of thousands of Americans censored for political speech. Google has admitted the following. The Biden admin pressured Google to censor Americans and remove content that did not violate their policies. The Biden admin censorship pressure was unacceptable and wrong. Public debates should never come at the expense of relying authorities. The company will never use third-party fact-checkers. Europe's censorship laws target American companies and threaten American speech, including the removal of lawful content. Following this, I have reached out to our contacts at Google, and I have requested that they reinstate the Timcast IRL episode with Joe Rogan and Alex Jones, the most viewed episode we had for a long period. I don't know if it's the most at this point. I think.
And that was a very special show. It was, at the time, it was a slightly safer America. I think this is before he got the big place that he does it at now. But he had a little touring RV studio, which is something that I was actually really wanting to do, and I'm jealous that he did it first. But yeah, he drove down to Austin and had Blair White, Alex Jones, Joe Rogan, and I want to say, I can't remember. Was that when Lids was still on the show? I can't recall off the top of my head, but it was a really good show. It really humanized Alex Jones and made him seem more like he was before the Sandy Hook thing. He wasn't nearly as extreme back then, but the YouTube censorship thing, and he might get into this, was kind of crazy for a very long time. It was basically the same as you probably saw with the Twitter files, the same as, what's that iRobot guy over at Facebook and Meta? You know what I'm talking about, the Facebook guy. It was the same as with him. YouTube censored a lot of people for even saying certain words, and mostly anything having to do with vaccinations, especially if you were against. But there were even some people that were pro-vaccination that got censored because the algorithm was that chaotic and out of control. It was trying times, and it's the main reason I actually tried to get a channel off the ground then, and I wasn't even doing anything that bad. I just had a few video game posts here and there, and I can't. The channel, it wasn't Bear in Mind. I did it on something else. I want to say it was like Duplexity Complex or something. It was some stupid name that I came up with a buddy of mine who was my roommate. But no, it was very strange. It's to the point where they're saying that there's censorship going on right now. And back then they were saying, oh, it's not censorship, it's consequence culture. It's not cancel culture, it's consequence culture. When it wasn't. It was literally they were going back and finding something you said 10 years ago with the Kevin Hart gay dollhouse thing and everything. It was stuff like that. And they were canceling you in the modern day for something you said when you were early 20s, maybe a teenager. Some people were teenagers, and they were getting all kinds of like life-ending things just because they were teenagers, and they didn't even really do anything. They just went against the grain. They went against what the government was pushing. Because as much as you want to say that Trump's an authoritarian, and I agree he's done some things that I've disagreed with, but I wouldn't say he's an authoritarian or even a Hitlerian figure or anything like that. We've just been going in one direction so hard for the last 4 years, and honestly, it started during the first Trump term with the Antifa riots and everything. The reason there weren't mass protests when Biden was in office was because they were closer to what Antifa wanted, and they knew that he would adhere to what Antifa wanted. than Trump was. Biden is conservative compared to most of the Antifa members. Antifa members comprise mostly of overprivileged upper and upper middle class white kids who were ashamed of daddy's money or mommy's money. Equal opportunities here. But they're a bunch of cowards. They rove around in packs because they're weak. They have a gang mentality. The only difference is by themselves, they would pretty much, or even in a group of 2 or 3, but even when they're in that small a group, they carry bats. They do everything they can so to give themselves the advantage because they're cowards. Watch any video of them. They'll run up on people and shoot them in the back of the head. They've done it once in Portland. And in cities like Portland, I'm getting off topic here, I apologize, but in cities like Portland, they've taken over. Like all these, you see all these videos of people taking over streets and pulling people out of cars and such. They did that in Portland for years. And it was allowed. My point is, videos about them and videos praising them have been lifted up on YouTube, on Twitch, and other people just for saying, I think, Tectone got banned for a week for calling Frogan fat, or saying that she had or Denims had an OnlyFans and that she was I don't like calling people a whore, but that's all he said. Whereas Hassan Piker and his ilk have praised terrorists. They said that I think a Houthi pirate was like Luffy from One Piece, and this stuff is praised. It's even put on the main page. Hassan Piker is always at the top of Twitch's mentions. I get stuff from him. I don't follow anyone like him. Not on Twitch. I do on X, just because he says a lot of retarded shit. But anyway.
Darren Beatty might be the most viewed episode we've ever had at this point. So it's true. It was related to something having to do with Trump. And they took this show down 3 years after it aired during the Biden presidency for fake reasons. I am actually now considering whether that we have legal standing to pursue against Google or YouTube, because I want to see the communications they had with the Biden administration pertaining to that episode. It makes no sense that 3 years after the episode aired, YouTube reached out to me and said they were deleting it for medical misinformation. Now, y'all have seen this show, and those that have know that we are very particular about the rules. We've taken episodes down.
Yes.
So we never violate any of their rules.
And they did.
So they had no reason to bring the episode down, but they did.
And I was watching the show. I was watching the show a lot back then, and they never violated the rules. You could see them as they were talking about certain things. They were very precise with their wording.
Said why after 3 years, and they gave me no legitimate reason. They said there'll be no adverse actions taken against your channel, but the show is gone. I want to know if the Biden administration told them to take it down. I'm willing to bet they did, because what we're learning from the House is that the Biden administration sent emails to YouTube, sent messages saying this content must be removed, even though it didn't violate their policies. And I think this episode, with millions of views, falls into that category.
Well, it's good that they're admitting it. It's good that it's something that conservatives have known for ages and ages, and it's something that the left has denied. Conservatives would say, well, look, we're being censored, et cetera, and the left would be like, no, you're not. They actually just did bad things, and, it's a private company, et cetera. So the fact that that Google's admitting that this was, the Biden administration making the request saying, look, you need to censor these people, that's a good thing. In addition to that, the left has been apoplectic about effing Jimmy Kimmel, who is, they never watched his show because you could tell by the ratings, but they thought it was such a terrible thing because it's possible that the FCC actually got involved. They are not saying one word about the Biden administration actually telling Google, hey, You should ban these people. They don't care about free speech at all. They only care about exerting power. So ignore all of their crying and complaining. Yeah. It is the days of the right, defending the rights of those that are going to deny the right of their rights are over. Yeah. We will defend the rights of people that will defend our rights, but like, this is a closed system, and people that will not defend the right of free speech do not deserve to have their rights protected or defended. Period.
YouTube's policies are incredibly vague as well, and it's really difficult to understand where you're actually violating the policy or not. They talk about sort of these vague, subjective terms about misinformation or disinformation and so on. And this kind of policy has a very chilling effect on free speech. It's not just the actual act of censoring people, it's the self-censorship that this causes across loads and loads of content creators who are terrified to go there. You know, news companies or individual journalists not talking about specific issues because they're worried about demonetization. Maybe YouTube is giving them a huge amount of income. They've got to be really careful.
And then the amount of newspeak that people engage in, you know, self-delete or whatever types of phrases that people use because they're afraid of saying the wrong word or the wrong phrase and getting demonetized or getting booted. Like, it is insane.
Yeah, well, and also the collaboration, like, I don't know, I don't think anyone's surprised, obviously, because, like, the Twitter files blew this wide open, like, a few years back, where they were like, oh, yeah, the DNC would just call in a favor, and it's like, hey, can you moderate that? Can you take that person offline? Can we moderate this sort of content? So it's like, we've known this for a while, and this is why you have to really tip the hat to Elon Musk. I mean, I know he's been under a lot of flack recently, and rightfully so in some degree, but like, without Elon Musk taking over Twitter, we would probably still be in the ghetto. Honestly, that's the only way to look at it, because
Trump
like,
would have lost.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Trump would have been in serious trouble. So it's like Elon Musk taking over Twitter completely in many ways restored that culture of free speech and sort of updated the culture of free speech to the new media.
There's so many things we wouldn't know as well